Hello, this is David Dean, and thanks for watching this. This is a count update. I have just finished the game with TWINE Peak Storm Shield Defense number 10. That was a really close ride. I actually thought I was going to fail that in the last couple minutes. But this is to go over my survivor squad, my traps, my weapons, and heroes and skill trees. So I'm going to get going over that. And the main thing with this account, this is my second time through. And what I learned on my first time is to really specialize my character. And where that really starts off is in your survivor squads. Slotting survivors into your survivor squads is your number one way to increase your home base power, your commander level. And it also can have a huge impact on your fort scores. You have fortitude, which is really just your health. Offense is your weapon damage, whether it is range or melee. Resistance is your shield. And then tech damage is your traps, abilities, and gadgets. And as you can see on this account, I really went totally towards gadgets. And if you watch the last wave of my Storm Shield Defense number 10, I was getting beat up like crazy. Taker's taking me out in one hit because, first of all, my resistance is less than a half of my tech, and my health is less or around a third of my tech score. And then my offense is a little bit better, but still only half of the tech score. And the reason I did this is because I knew I was going to be soloing Storm Shield defenses and missions, mainly relying on traps. And also I love playing heroes that focus on ability damage. This is why when I play Ted Shot Jess or the Enforcer Grizzly or Master Grenader Ramirez, my abilities are doing massive damage. And I really don't worry that much about my weapon damage because this is so much greater. And it really did just made life so much easier, and this has continued on with their bonuses. As you can see, all I have is trap damage, trap durability, which actually is almost twice this. This is a text error, which I'll explain in a bit. And then I have a sum towards ability damages, which once again, when I'm soloing Storm Shield defenses, that increases the HeavyBase electric floors and the Nova explosion. So I went all out on that, and where I was talking about, like here, trap durability I have at 16%. Well, that first number I showed you only counts this as once, where I have it twice, each time for 8%. So if we go into here, and actually down here, you will see for traps, my trap durability is 120% higher than the base trap durability of 100%. So I'm more than doubling how long my traps last. And this is the true number you care about, and this is carried over. This is messed up. These should be start at 100%. Instead, they start at 1,000%. And my trap damage is up to almost 3,000. And the same thing with my ability damage, getting up close to 3,000 increase in that. And on these, as you can see, I have not put a lot into this. I finished the entire game and I still have a rare in here, and it's still 1 star. That is it. I am now going to be changing these out because I don't need trap durability for regular missions. And let's see. Yeah, on these I even have legendary ones. I could have put in here and gotten a higher commander level, but my trap durability would have gone down. So now I'm going to be focusing on trap damage and ability damage to slot all of these here, because that's how this account is focused. Now you look at that and compare it to my tech, everything is maxed out. 5 stars all the way. And whether you do this or not, this is not the right way or the wrong way. This is the way I enjoy playing this account. On my third account I'm getting ready to do, I will not do it this way. I will have it more even. That way I can do more weapon damage, which will be more in comparison of what I'm doing with gadget damage. But on this account, I really went for specializing. And just to show you what I have in each one going, oh, that was health over here and resistance. I put a little bit more into it. Basically, if I got a legendary that had trap durability, knew I was going to be using that the whole game, so I went ahead and 5-starred it. While some of the others I left and hopefully we'll catch up with later. Oh, we already did gadgets. We wanted offense. Oh, I wasn't offense. I'm losing it, guys. And then moving on down here, this was resistance, where once again, really haven't leveled it up as high as I should. And with what I have in basically storage for my survivors, I should be able to make almost all of these legendaries. I will recycle the epics and rares, and to get that survivor XP and try to get this a little bit higher. Maybe. I don't know. I kind of like, one thing I'm strange about, I do not like overpowering the game. A lot of people, they thought the only way you could solo a Storm Shield defense in Twine Peaks was to be 20 levels higher than it, and then bring in 3 of your friends so that you are level 140 taking on level 100 and Husk. And to me, that just didn't seem the right way to do it. So what I did was not focus on my commander level being so high, but just learning how to play the game better. And when I do get to higher level, like I can drop down and go into a level 70 mission and just overpower it, that is boring to me. To me, that is just, there's no challenge. It's kind of a waste of time. So get back into each one of these. Need to change her out. That's all I have right now is epics for the lead of my training team. Still need to get that mythic, and then once I know the personality type, I can level up everything else more. I don't have that much survivor XP, so what I need is to retire the ones I'm no longer, trap durability ones I no longer really need. Fortunately, got my mythic here. Over here, resistance. Once again, since I knew I was going to be doing ability damage for the entire game, I went and 5-starred that legendary. Getting a lot... Oh, friend requests popping up. Alright, and then here, once again, this is the tech one. Totally loaded up as much as possible. I have 2 of these as ability damage. So let's see. Yeah, I'll be changing that out if I have another ability damage of that type. Not seeing it. So, oh well, keep collecting survivors. But everything I do in the game, it comes off of what my survivor squad is. And you can do the same thing. If you are somebody who loves to use weapons and you want to focus on weapon damage, then yeah, definitely load up your offense, give yourself some more resistance. Using tech, you can kind of stand in the back and out of danger's way. But using offense, you're usually up a little bit closer to the battle. So make sure you have decent resistance and fortitude. And then down here, focus on range damage. But always try to slot everything and always try to get personality matches. I got one I need to change out right now. I just noticed that. Yeah, we'll change it over here.
What a team.
Just to get the legendary in there, and I'll level her up at another time. But yeah, personality matches for each one. Slotting each one as fast as you can. You get them out of your skill tree. And then once you do that, focus on getting the damage you want. And then moving on to what people really care about. Weapons and traps. For me, once again, I play very different. On this account, I was focused on ability damage. So basically, I was letting the abilities take them out. Grenades, teddies, turrets, stuff like that. And then I hung back most of the time with the Super Shredder. And I love doing with the Super Shredder. First of all, you get a sniper rifle. Headshot eliminations caused an explosion, damaging enemies within a half tile for 30% weapon damage. This is huge on a sniper, because pretty much all snipers have this huge single shot damage. I got mine at 33,000, which means that headshot explosion does 11,000 damage to all husk around it. Which means I had a fun time in the game trying to target whatever husk with one shot I could take out, and that explosion, see how many other husk I could kill with it. Kind of like what you do with a dragon slash or with a grenade. You take a few extra seconds to herd them up the way you want them, do a single shot, and boom, see how many you can take out at once. That's me. Just having fun, trying to find a game inside of the game. Why I have so much schematic XP right now is they're coming out, hopefully within a week or two, the new RPG Bowler, which is supposed to be massive impact, and the second that drops, I want to be able to level that up. The other weapon I used most of the game was the Thunderbolt double barrel shotgun, until they came out with this beauty, the Dragoon, which I love. For the 6th perk, I have it with the snare, which is good because I'm using it to slow down and knock back husks more than kill them. I would also like Affliction on this. That would also be a good perk. Also, as I said, I'm not mainly focused on damage. If you watch my last trap video, there's a smasher getting ready to get all the way through the trap tunnel. So I just put 2 shots in him, and he starts going backwards 1 or 2 tiles. And I just kept putting shots into him until he was back in the trap tunnel, and the trap tunnel ate him up. That's what I do with this weapon. I also love it when you find those smashers on the edge of the map. I just blow them off the edge of the map. So I went reload, reload, and impact. And so just for moving the husk around. And like I said, massive impact, almost 27,000. Also pretty good damage for a single shot. So that was my other favorite weapon. My favorite RPG was the quad launcher. The reason I love this is I would always set it up where I had husks coming in through a choke point, whether it's up a ramp or something. And this one, when you shoot it, it does a fire pit effect and staggers all husks that walk into that fire pit. Originally, it didn't set off propane, which made it way OP. Now it does sometimes set off propane. It's really weird. I can sit there with a propane tank laying on the ground, shoot it, nothing happens. Shoot it, nothing happens. Shoot it a 3rd time, and it blows up. And I don't move. I don't change what I'm aiming at. So, don't know what's going on with that. But the quad launcher, the fact that it can stun targets to keep them in that fire pit is huge. The other reason it is awesome, and I'm going to mention these guys a lot in the game because they kind of changed up the game, is the dome shielders, where they are underneath the shield protecting them. When you do the quad launcher and shoot at the base of that dome, they come walking into that fire pit. Whatever husk they're protecting gets staggered and takes damage, and then the shielder takes damage and gets killed, along with everything else under the shield. So it works great for that. So those are my 3 main weapons. Weapons I highly recommend and love using. First of all, the Obliterator needs to be added into the game for everybody to get. Or an Obliterator type weapon. Not for doing damage to husk, but it just makes the game so much funner and move so much faster when you can use your weapon to quickly take out all the buildings around an area you want to build at. I hate having to sit there and pound walls for 10 or 15 minutes to clear out an area to put in trap tunnels. And when you're soloing, it is a really big pain. So the Obliterator just makes life easier, mainly for clearing out areas. Also, people absolutely love it because you can give it to a defender sniper, and he can shoot through walls. So you can basically box them in. And that, just great aspect. But other weapons, I did level up these to 130. My favorite of these is the Tiger Jaw. It just massive, fast damage. It is great for shredding smashers, mainly elemental smashers. The goal was to make 1 fire, 1 nature, 1 water, 1 of each type to take down the husk. but I just did not want to use the RePerks yet to do that, because basically I want to do all three roughly at the same time. On this, a lot of arguments about what the best perks out there. Like I said, I would change it to fire. I would go damage, crit rating, and crit damage on it. I would prefer, well, damage to slow and snare targets. It's pretty good when your main focus for a weapon is taking out Husky Husk and Smashers. I would prefer Affliction, but I will definitely take the slowed. On this one, very different type weapon, where it has a, I do believe, a longer range, actually double the range. And I really have never gotten into like the machine gun fire weapons, except for the Riptide as a pistol. Don't know why, just love it. But like the Siegebreaker, machine gun weapon, it does a lot of damage, but I like precision over spray and pray. So the Lynx is a very precise weapon like the Deathstalker, and this thing is just awesome for getting those shots. I hate this perk. I don't want it on any weapon. Getting 5 headshots in a row increases range weapon damage by 30% for 10 seconds. This is probably the best weapon to have that perk on, because this one will do a short burst fire, not your typical machine gun fire. So you can get several good headshots on a maybe a blaster or something else. But no, I'd rather have the exploding head perk or the affliction, or once again the snaring perk on it. And on this one, same thing. I just would want damage, crit rating, and crit damage, and water. And it really doesn't matter, just as long as it's a different elemental type than your other top weapons. The Bobcat is more of a machine gun weapon, which wasn't too bad. And also, you will notice I leveled up 3 of these to 130 for doing assault, but they're different ammo types. And that is huge. That way, whatever you're running out of ammo, you just switch to a different weapon until you get more ammo, and you don't waste resources crafting ammos. But the Bobcat, damage to Mist Monster and bosses, I would change that since this has the snare on it. And once again, same thing. Damage, crit rating, crit damage. And on this one, it might have on it, let me double check, it's been a little bit. Can you put double headshot on it? Okay, I may change that. I'm going to change what I said on this one. This one, I would change it up. Since it has double headshot perk, I would go with double headshot. Focus on headshot on those two. What do we got here? Magazine size, reload. Probably go magazine size so I can keep firing without a break. And here, I would go damage. And really focus on headshots. The one thing is, if you have a weapon taking out smashers, it's really hard sometimes to get that angle on its little bitty head. If you're standing directly in front of it, this thing would be awesome for doing damage, shooting them in the head. If you are standing to the side or back, suddenly that damage is going to be dropping off. But those are great weapons I have. Ones I would recommend for leveling up, I think are just awesome in the game. People love the Noble Launcher. To me, it's more of a situational launcher. If you have Husk coming in on a level area, you can hit dozens and dozens of Husk as long as they are all in a nice, neat, flat area in front of you. It's a little hard to get a good angle sometimes to do the max damage over rough terrain. But when the situation is right, the Noble Launcher just does amazing damage. One thing it is... Let's see, I haven't even converted that one over. I want to check out really quick. Modify perks, convert. And the one thing, it is stuck at energy. So if you have one Nobel launch or one RPG, this is great. But if you start getting further in the game where you're just like on your regular weapons, you're going to specialize your launchers to have a fire one, a nature one, and a water one. You can't do that with the Noble. That is one huge drawback. The long arm enforcer is a great medium range shotgun. For out to about 2 or 3 tiles, the tiger jaw does more damage. But once you get out to 4 or 5 tiles distance, the long arm starts doing more damage. The one shot is a great sniper rifle. I actually use my super shredder basically as my all-purpose weapon. So not as a true sniper rifle. If I was using something as a true sniper rifle, then yeah, one shot is absolutely deadly. Love it. Talked in the video before about vent pistols. Whisper 45 is awesome. Extremely good accuracy, really good on doing headshots. And then just moving down, I know some people are going to be angry because they're going to see their favorite weapon and I'm not mentioning it. Dragon Breath, I didn't level it up here. I love it when I am playing a Ranger Outlander. Basically, it can tear through Husky Husk and Smashers really fast. It's a kind of a waste and slow when you're doing it against a bunch of low hit point Husks. You use a different pistol for that. But for your high hit point Husk, Dragon's Breath is just awesome. The Hydra is a great general purpose all around assault rifle. Early on in the game, when you don't have enough schematics to level up 5 or 6 different weapons, this is the best weapon to level up first and to use in all kind of general purposes. But later on in the game, when you can specify your weapon to do specifically what you want it to do, like massive impact, massive damage, long range, short range, then the Hydra kind of drops off. This is Old Smoky. Love Old Smoky, basically a Thunderbolt, and I would have leveled it up like crazy if I didn't have the Dragoon. The Piston Spitter was a weapon I thought was going to be horrible until I actually played with it. It has about half, let me see, yeah, half the DPS of the Whisper. So why would you ever use a weapon that has half DPS, but it has massive impact, and it has a good fire rate for a weapon with massive impact. And in my video about pistols, I was able to knock down Husky Husk and just keep them rolling on the ground. So Whisper is better at killing Husk. The Piston Spitter is better for keeping you alive and keeping Husk from doing damage to you. So and there's the Riptide. Got it leveled up on my other account. And that is about it, what I'm seeing in here for weapons I love. I am probably not the best person for melee weapons. Don't level up too much. I wish I had gotten this sooner. The Pulverizer just does massive impact for a hammer, and with the new SID Constructor, it would be awesome. And I know some people love giving it to defenders just because they think it's funny to watch the defenders send the Husk flying with this hammer. I did end up leveling up the Dragon Fist. And the main thing, if you're going to use like Sid or a Constructor who has kinetic overload, which goes off when it does a crit hit, your main focus on the weapon is to get your crit chance as high as possible to get that kinetic overload going off all the time. And hopefully in my third account, which I finally just started, I will start using some more ninjas and using some more swords. We also have a new hero on the way that specializes in the scythe, so hopefully we'll test out more of these in the game. And this is what I'm mainly known for traps. And one thing, I will put it as a link in the description along with a bunch of my other old videos, but over on Reddit there is Destiny Snide, I don't know, I'm gonna mess up the name, but Destiny something. He went through and did all the numbers for all the traps for the best perks on whether you were a normal constructor or whether you're a machinist or whether you were heavy base, and has all these down. And I agree with them. Those numbers are great. The thing is, with the numbers, they really don't take in effect launchers going over the same areas again and again and keeping us trapped in an area. And I don't know any way you could ever really get those numbers down. So mine are going to be different. Plus, I tailor-made my traps mainly for long-duration Storm Shield defense. So as I said, my perks are going to be a little different. Also, everybody asks, what's my #1 trap? Without a question, wall launcher. This is the first one I would level up every time. With my trap builds, it's absolutely critical. When I first started the game, everybody was worried about damage in traps, and they could not understand why anybody would level up a trap that does 0 damage. But once you learn to play the game, you realize this thing ends up causing the most damage to us, because if you have any damage trap, it just keeps sending us back to those damage traps again, again, and again. So definitely wall launchers. Second is the floor launcher. And the reason for that is for structures, always put 45s or reverse stairs all the way around them, and then put a floor piece with a floor launcher there. So with the 45 or reverse stairs, you need that, because if a smasher gets within a range of the objective and sees a flat wall, it will charge the objective and totally destroy everything you got. So you put up a 45 or reverse stairs and the smashers won't charge. So then you put this trap underneath the reverse stairs, and everything that comes to try to beat on your walls gets launched up into the air and away from the objective, allowing you to take them out with weapons, abilities, or put a gas trap above it, and then they'll get eaten up with the traps. And then my third favorite is the wooden floor spikes. And this, I could have done everything I did with level 1 floor spikes if I wanted to. Or wooden floor spikes. These are used for slowing down the husk 30%, and it usually lasts between a tile and a half or 2 tiles, somewhere in there. And it just makes the husk go through your tunnels much, much slower, giving all your other traps time to recharge and do a second hit, a third hit on it, allowing the launchers to have a better chance of sending them back into the trap tunnel. So, and the only reason I have this leveled up is because I didn't want to have to keep going back to Stonewood to get materials and farming to build these. So I just leveled them up whenever I went into a new zone to that many stars. And then I was getting ready to do it to the 4th and finished up the game. The other thing, if you level this up on rarity, you increase the amount of materials you need for it. So it can actually hurt you on leveling it up. You will do a little bit more damage, but I mean, look at the damage, 74. So you could put all this damage perks on here, and it still would be basically a waste of your RePerks and perk ups. And those are my 3 favorites right there. Then I bring in the damage traps. Right now in the game, without a doubt, the ceiling gas traps are the #1 damaging ones. And to me, they're getting a little bit overpowered. And this goes back to those dome shielders once again. Because I used to really like mainly low-level ceiling electric fields. But the ceiling electric field does not pierce the domes like gas traps do. Gas traps just fill up the area with gas. So when the husks walk through, even with that shield on, that gas is underneath the shield and it kills the shield or husk. And then everything else is also getting affected. Where when I use the ceiling electric field and the zapper, the dome was protecting everything underneath it. So the gas traps are just doing huge damage. Once again, though, people didn't like them in the beginning because they saw this little bitty damage number. But that damage is just 1 of 6 ticks. And if you put Effect Duration as your 6th perk, then that tick goes up to 7 ticks. And these things are just eating them up. And for me, I want steady damage. I want to know, instead of a high or low with the gas traps, I just want everything taking good, steady damage. So I just went damage, 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 reload speed. As I stated, you'll see the link in my description if you want to see somebody who broke down the numbers, what they recommended on it. Same thing with the other traps I've been mentioning. You may have noticed on the wall launcher, I used to have 5 impact. I don't recommend that to anyone unless they're going to be soloing the last part of Twine Peak Storm Shield defenses. And now that I finished that, I put it where I do recommend it: impact, reload, impact, and then durability. And I have the same thing on my floor launchers. Here, I don't care what the perks are. They have no perks for increasing the slow effect, so not worried about it. Whatever it came with, that's what I stick with. Next damage is the dynamos. And once again, everything for me is networking for everything else working. I am using the slowing spikes to make so that traps go off more often, and the wall traps have better chance of hitting the husks to send them back into the damage traps. And that's why on the dynamos, I love the fact they have an impact on them along with a lot of damage. The one downside is they are nature, so they're doing less damage to fire. But the amount of damage they're putting out and the amount of impact is worth it to me. And the reason for this is that just like Husk have health counters that go down, they have impact counters. And with the smashers, you have to impact them repeatedly to get that impact counter down to 0, at which point you can hit them with a wall launcher and they'll go flying, or the dynamo will have a staggering effect, or a freeze trap will freeze them. You have to knock down that impact counter. And so that is what I want on here with the dynamos. And if you know from my videos, I use trap timeout rooms where I have 3 dynamos all around them going off at one time. So once again, I want steady damage and I want it going off as fast as possible. These were all damage before 4, and that's because I was doing the higher level Storm Shield defenses. But now I'm doing normal ones, so I got the high reload with damage, good steady damage and durability. And hopefully that is staggering them and killing everything but the smashers, and then the smashers will be impacted by either floor launchers or wall launchers. And a lot of people love the wall darts. The wall darts have great functionality in the open. They detect husks within 3 tiles and shoot out 6 tiles. So if you got like shooting these out at a spawn point, they're going to shoot through those husks doing tons of damage. But inside of trap tunnels that are only 1 tile wide, it really not much use for them. And you can put them at the end of the trap tunnel to hit everything going through. But usually at the end I have a wall launcher. So while I like them, I just don't find that much functionality with them. So I usually level them up after everything else I've mentioned. I used to like the ceiling electric fields, but now with the dome shielders, they have really gone down in usefulness for me. And mainly now I'm using them whenever I'm running out of materials for other traps. And I forgot to mention, this one would probably be the one I'd level after dynamos, the retractable floor spikes. And the reason I leveled up this to 130 instead of the dynamos is because I would never be able to keep up with materials at 5-star with dynamos, because I use like 3 of these to every 1 of these. So that's the reason I put this up to 130, just because that way I could keep up with the 5-level materials it needs. But this one I go for that massive hit, because my favorite place to put these are back in timeout rooms and areas like that. And in areas like that, the dynamos are staggering them, so they're being held in place for a long time with that staggering, and then they get hit 51% of the time for massive crit hit damage. And the numbers here do not reflect what the numbers are in the actual game with all my added perks onto them. So these get much larger. And what else have we talked about here? The ceiling drop trap, just call them tire traps, are fun, interesting, different traps, but they're really only good to me over ramps and in areas where I can't put any other ceiling trap. So basically, it's one of the last ones I level up. With the freeze trap and the flame trap, I love the look of them. I love using them in the game. The thing is, they're situational, where the freeze trap is really good against fire, but not that good against nature. And same thing here. The fire is great with nature, but not so good against water, where the retractable floor spikes are good all the time. So now that I'm getting more experience, yeah, I'm going to be leveling them up more. But just because they're more situational by what type of husk are coming in, that is why I don't bother leveling them up till later. And then why do I have 2 ceiling electric fields leveled up here? That is because of Challenge the Horde. You get a bunch of materials like when you're up in the skill tree, and a lot of those materials are for low level traps. So when I run out trap materials to build level 106 or 4-star traps, I can drop down and still build 3-star traps. And that is why I have it like that. Zapper, that's kind of fallen out of favor with me. I loved it on the first account. But with Elemental, like this is doing nature, so it does very little damage against fire. And with the new Dome Shielders, this just ends up being much less effective. All right, I spent enough time on that. And once again, if you want to see the maxed out perks that are recommended by the numbers, you can see that in the show more. Let's get moving. We got to pick up the pace here. All right, heroes, soldiers. You may have known from the videos, I loved Carbide. But a big part of this is how I built this account. It's all focused towards ability damage. And he does grenades and he does shockwaves with a bunch of perks to him. So this will definitely... It is great. The one downside of Carbide and any hero that specializes in grenades or shockwave is as soon as propane is coming in through the trap tunnels, you got to back off and go back to using your weapon. Otherwise, you're going to blow everything up. What I would do is run outside of the trap tunnel in front of it and take out all the propane and stuff right where it spawned before it had a chance to get to the trap tunnels. Urban Assault is kind of the generic favorite one of everybody when it comes to soldiers. And there's good reason for it. She does not specialize in a particular weapon. She specializes in all weapons. So she allows you to switch between pistol, shotgun, assault rifle, sniper rifle, and you're still doing really great damage. You may not do as much shotgun damage as the Raider or as much pistol damage as the Ranger, but it's pretty darn close. Also, the thing that puts her over the top that makes her a favorite one is that while she's doing great damage with weapons, she also has a frag grenade, which by itself isn't that big of a deal, but she has Keep Out. Leaves a lingering energy field doing 15% of the initial grenade blast damage every 1 second over 10 seconds. That is awesome. If you can find a choke point like a ramp or something, or even a trap tunnel that does not have propane in it, do not throw grenades into trap tunnel with propane. Just getting that out there. This is great. So she does great with weapons and has ability damage to help out. Plus now you can put double agent into her tactical slot and you get cluster bombs, which makes her grenades just insanely powerful and pretty well puts her up there with Master Grenader. And before I was using this one, give me more grenades. But I gotta admit, I like the cluster bomb. And now there is about 8 different heroes with bonuses that you can use to increase damage on grenades a variety of different ways. Just pick out whichever way you prefer. And then for other soldiers, I was using really not much. But on my third account, I really want to be using the Raider with the shotgun damage a lot more. I love shotguns, so need to get into that. So that is it for me on soldiers. Constructors, Sid. Oh, what to tell you about Sid. I love Sid as a fun character, but it would never be my main hero. I don't think you'd ever really get the top combat score in a mission, but he is definitely fun. He specializes in hammers and can do a lot of damage. The thing is, with bees lobbers that do the brown gas cloud with the new zappers, and all the other range attackers, going out there and pounding away with a hammer is a little bit suicidal. It really kind of is. So it is fun, but yeah, if you're in a mission you're way over leveled for, go for it. HeavyBase Kyle, to me, he's almost overpowered for the constructors. He has the electric floors, the Nova Blast, and traps do 20% faster reload speed with him. And yeah, just if you're worried about defending an objective and having your trap tunnels do great damage, he is absolutely awesome. On the defensive side for big builds is the power-based Nox. He also has the power of recycling, so you get materials out of your base, but they really need to change that only the person that puts down the base can get materials out of it. Because I stopped playing him simply because I got so frustrated with people who did not help build one single thing on the defense come over and take my materials out of the base. So that's my comments on that. And Mega Base is another great one. Machinist is really more focused putting her base on the trap tunnels than on the actual objective. Never did get her on this account. Can't believe it. And on my new account, I will be playing other constructors. You guys already seen me play with these guys. So I'm going to be using ones like the Demolitionist, Sentinel, who is awesome. She specializes in decoy and the plasma pulse. The current event one, I can't really recommend her. She's really great up until her level 30 power, which causes her plasma pulse to do one big blast and then leave a bunch of grenades that are really tough for the husk to set off. It was so... Basically, she is better without her level 30 power than she is with it. So hopefully they will fix that. Ninjas. Don't play ninjas too much. I need to change that. I have this one all the way level up, but that's only to get her increase all ability damage by 20%. Absolutely love it. The Harvester is fun to play. She more focuses on doing massive damage to more single targets like smashers and other mist monsters. Where the Dragon, which everybody has loved from the beginning of this, is the one with all the perks towards Dragon Slash that, yeah, when Encampment goes off, you just Dragon Slash through the middle of it, and you're taking down a large portion of all the mobs in one hit. It's just awesome. But once again, with all the new, well, mainly with the new Zapper, that has really been hurting the ninja. So they need to do something where you do a Dragon Slash and you're immune to range damage for a few seconds, or just make that a perk where you take 50% less range damage. They gotta change that up, otherwise people are never gonna be really enjoying playing melee characters. And Outlanders, I did not like them on my first account due to energy being tied to your sprint. So basically you never had the energy or endurance to use the abilities of the Outlander like you really should be able to. But now they took that away, and Outlanders are just amazing. With all my additional points in my tech slot for ability damage, and using Shuriken Master Sarah for another 20%, the Teddy on my Ted Shot Jess and my Enforcer Grizzly is just awesome. I will go through missions, level 100 missions solo for build the radar, rescue the survivors, and a lot of times I won't fire a single shot. I will do everything with my teddies and turrets. And that means when I'm gathering resources, I don't have to waste resources on keep making weapons. So I'm absolutely loving them right now. A lot of people love the Reclaimer because he gets the Teddy and the Shock Tower, so he can put out even more damage. But I can't give up Phase Shift, mainly with the way I built my fort scores with low health, low resistance. Anytime I'm in trouble, anytime a blaster is targeting me, boom, Phase Shift, I'm out of there. throw down a teddy behind me. I stand behind the teddy until it's clear, and then I start sniping them with my super shredder, taking out groups of them with that exploding headshot. Works great. And a lot of other good ones out there. I want to run on my new account, Gunblazer Southie. I think he would be absolutely great. Wild Fragment Deadeye, he relies on fragments to do massive damage with his teddies, and I hate having to rely on finding fragments. It's nice when you do, but I don't want to spend the game searching for them. In Challenge the Horde, it's fine because you know where all the fragments are after you do it 2 or 3 times, and they magically reappear in the exact same spot. So you can gather up a bunch and challenge the Horde, no issue, no problem. But in regular missions, that is not the case, so I kind of tend to wait from him. The other outstanding Outlander is Ranger. Ranger with his pistol damage is phenomenal. I have my Beetle Jess leveled up on my other account all the way up, and she is just awesome for pistol damage. Definitely can keep up with the soldiers and any other character for maxing out damage. Whew, we're through heroes. All right. So we have done schematics, heroes, survivors, defenders. This is quick because all I do is snipers. Once again, just like with melee characters, all the range attackers in the game just take out the defenders in a heartbeat. Also, defenders can shoot propane tanks. So it's rare, but they do it. And it isn't worth it to me to have a defender that might blow up everything in my trap tunnels. And so, yeah, that's it. Also, on the snipers, if I know it's a non-propane wave, I will place down snipers, but they're back behind the objective. So that way they really never get targeted by the range husk. And if takers come flying in, they'll absolutely shred the takers. And on the other, and also flinger trash. And the other thing, now they have it with a few weapons where you can build a metal box around your defender and he can shoot through it. And so far I've only seen that on sniper defenders. So, and correct me if I'm wrong on that. And moving on to what else? We want skill points. And I think that's about it. Outstanding. Skill points. Over here, I did everyone the exact same way. Actually, it'd be better to show it here. Got in, and usually I did tech straight over to the survivor slot, offense to the survivor slot, resistance to the survivor slot, and as you can see here, health over to the survivor slot. And then, once I got the survivors I wanted, I went back to the tech side and filled tech up, because that is the way this account is designed. On my next account, I'll probably split it up even between offense and tech. And I have a lot of people who don't like doing traps, don't like using gadgets. They love firing weapons. They just load up on the damage. And that is the same for all 4 of them. You see I got 13 here more. I could fill up all my slots or close to it if I wanted to, but I am not. There are certain abilities like the teleport pad I never really cared for, so there's no reason to slot it. And the proximity mine, never cared for it, so I haven't slotted it. The reason for that is because it used to be the turret was worthless, and then suddenly they did a change, and suddenly I wanted it really bad. So it's good to always have extra skill points, mainly when you got skill points slots open on things you do not care about. Also, if they ever do come up with another zone, that means another skill tree. They've done the island volcano zone in Twine Peaks, so really hope they get a moon base going for the next one. And the day that opens up, I got skill points I can spend on it. So that is how I am doing my skill points. And I think we got through it all. Sorry for such a long video, but that's the way I do my videos. Let me know your questions, your thoughts, what you think I got wrong, what you think I got right. I really do have to say the strength of this channel is by the information you guys give back to me in the comments, me listening to your comments and putting that in future videos. And I thank you for everything I learned. The Double D Army has just been insane, and I hope it keeps going. So take care and have an amazing day.